red light that wasn't on, so it was
Recording now.
All right. Can you hear?
Hi, Dr. Amy. Hi, Dr. Amy.
Hey, Dr. Eli, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
So, real quick, in just a couple words, and then we'll start. But tell her what your biggest win was.
Which one? The money one first? So I kind of had two big wins. The first one was I was in a spot where I was going to have to start taking more loans out for school. And because of Animal Chiropractic, I was able to graduate completely debt free.
Whoa!
I'm upset that this didn't record the first time.
That's a great win.
Yeah, I had about 2 quarters left, and I was able to went to the loan office, and I was just really having a hard time thinking about being in debt, and I was panicked about it because I worked really hard. My family had helped me so that I could be debt free. And then Animal Chiropractic, I was able to make enough money that I didn't have to worry about it, which was really awesome.
High five. Good job.
Thank you.
B's and C's to A's and B's after coming here.
Oh yeah. You guys seriously taught me more about neurology than any of my neurology professors. I learned so much, and it was one of those things where you took something that they were trying to make complicated and you broke it down in a way that I was like, oh, I can do this, because you understood that not everybody learns the same, and you guys broke it down in a manner in which I could never be more grateful for, because I went back to school and I was like, oh, I know how to do this. I can actually understand this.
That's awesome.
So thank you guys.
I'm so happy to hear that. Thank you so much. That's great. You have that recorded
What we just did now.
about the neurology?
Redo it.
Okay.
All right.
What am I supposed to be doing?
Helping them if they need it.
Do I have
Drugs are in there. Let me make sure. Halters are there, drugs are there, and that's all I know.
No.
All right. We have an equine dentist here today.
Oh, very nice. That's cool.
Yep.
Fun.
All right. Let me give the crew a heads up.
All right.
All right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Animal Chiropractic Clinic Chatter. I'm your host, Dr. O. Once again, thank you for joining us, allowing us to be in the top 15 animal or chiropractic podcast in the U.S. Not just animal chiropractic, but chiropractic. That's because you out there are listening. We appreciate it. And today on Who is Animal Chiropractic, our host is Dr. Jennifer. Dr. Jen, tell us a little bit about yourself and who you are.
So I am a fairly newly recent grad from Life University. I graduated in December of 2022. I am from a very small town, Warrenton, Virginia, horse and wine country, and I'm passionate about animals and people, and just passionate about chiropractic.
All right. So tell us what your biggest win with Animal Chiropractic is.
Okay, I've got two. So my first one is a really, really big one for me, and it hits home. So towards the end of my chiropractic career life, I was in a situation where I was going to have to take out loans, and I had worked really hard, and my family had helped me really hard so that I didn't have to do that. So it was a little bit of a rough patch for me, and I had been so successful in animal chiropractic that I didn't have to take out any loans. So I was able to graduate chiropractic school completely debt free, and I couldn't have ever asked for anything more, because that is huge. That is so big, and it's something that most people can't say. So I'm very grateful for that.
So how long do you think it took you to repay what the course cost?
Oh, 2.5 weeks. Easy. If you're working hard, okay. That's 4 a.m. calls for me. I was at the barn by 4 a.m. and had groups of people meeting me. But it's it's not work if you love what you're doing. It's really not work at all. So for me, I was like, of course I want to go to your barn at 4 a.m. Why not? I might look a little bit rough, but I'm coming.
All right. Cool. Yeah. All right. And then what's your second win?
My second win is a dog named Fifi. It was actually one of my friend's dogs, a mutt. She called me one morning crying and telling me that she's going to have to put Fifi down. And I go, whoa, wait a minute. Why? What'd the vet say? What's going on? Fifi could not move her hind legs at all. She was having bowel and bladder problems, and She just the vet basically told her that she couldn't help her. Um, and I said, before you put your dog down, who is 10 years old, who's known you your whole life, and Fifi still had many years, small breed. And I said, let me just adjust her. Let me just see what happens, because it couldn't help. So we started off very aggressively, if you will, adjusting 2 times a day. For the first, she'd come normally 3 to 4 times a week when she could make it. So within the first 2 weeks, we saw bowel and bladder problems stop. By the third week, the right hind leg was working, and then by the 4.5 week mark, completely normal bowel, bladder, up running around, acting like Fifi again. And so Fifi just turned 11 years old about a month ago. So Fifi is happy and thriving and living her life. And the owner had no idea chiropractic was even really gonna help at all. She just kind of thought it was just keeping your dog happy, but she didn't realize it could make such a big impact. And Fifi is doing well, and owner is happy because Fifi's doing well. So I'm happy.
Well, cool. What about horses?
Horses, oh my goodness. So here in Virginia, just like Texas, we have a really big barrel racing community. And I've had another one of my friends who's been barrel racing since I've known her, which is many, many, many years. And she got this horse. It was a fairly new horse, but had been abused, had some issues, but could run the course well. She wouldn't have bought the horse if the horse couldn't run the course well. As soon as she gets on the horse, she goes, he'll run it perfect sometimes, but at other times he just acted like he had no idea what was going on. His body was moving funky. His hind legs were you could tell the brain and body connection just wasn't there at all. And so started adjusting the horse again pretty aggressively, because she had a show coming up that she was already paid and ready to go to. And so I started adjusting the horse pretty aggressively, and I approached it differently than I normally do with horses. I saw stuff going on the rear end, but my gut just told me that I needed to touch the atlas first. The brain and body connection was too much for me not to attack that atlas first. And I adjusted that atlas, probably one of my best atlas adjustments, and everything else followed. I barely had to touch the horse after that. And the horse after that ran the pattern perfectly. So that for me was a win, because I not only got to help a friend, but she ended up doing very well in the show. So she scheduled out shows for the rest of next year, and I'm still adjusting that horse. And she said I'll probably always adjust that horse.
Cool. And
hmm
and the atlas was all you needed. Yeah.
That's all you need, the atlas bone. And we've talked about this previously, but coming into animal chiropractic, I wasn't necessarily, the atlas bone was cool, it was important, but it wasn't something that I was passionate about. Because in humans, I wasn't seeing the response that you can get in animals. And coming to your course and actively practicing and seeing what the atlas can do, I absolutely fell in love. It is now my favorite bone in the body. It is something that I probably almost talk too much about, because if
Nah.
you never enough, right? Never enough atlas. And now I bring that not only with my animals, I check the atlas first. I don't care what kind of animal comes through the threshold of my door. I'm checking that first. And I do that same approach with humans now also, because you know what? If it's not broke, don't fix it. And the atlas works. So just do it.
Yep. So, you've been to the house and you've seen my china cabinet,
Yes.
right? Yeah. Most people, have like grandma's teacup in their china cabinet. You know, Not me. What do I
Nope.
have in my china cabinet?
Atlases.
Atlases. 36 different atlas species of atlases in my china cabinet.
hmm
And a student just sent me a new one.
That's
And
exciting. What kind of animal?
it's not cleaned up yet, so I can't
Show
show it.
it.
But it's a brown bear.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I have he went bear hunting and got a bear. And so I have a bear atlas now to go in
That is awesome.
and I thought that it would be closer to the human atlas because
Yeah.
they're upright,
Yeah.
and gravity kind of affects them. They
Yeah.
do on all four, but it feels more like a dog atlas. So
hmm
we're gonna be interesting to see that.
You'll have to
Yeah,
clean it up and show everybody.
yeah, we'll have to do that. That'll be coming up. Yes,
That's
we
awesome.
will show the video of that. So cool. So let's see. Um, so what's one thing you wish dog owners knew?
I wish dog owners knew the importance of chiropractic and simply what it is, because although chiropractic is becoming more well known these days, I think that the standard is still you go to your vet, you do what your vet says, and then it stops there. And I, although obviously we respect the vets and their opinion, I think that there is a quote unquote non-traditional way that could work better than standard medicine, and how important it is for the function of your animal. And think about it, if humans need chiropractic, in my opinion, animals need it even more. And so I wish dog owners and horse owners really knew what kind of a life-changing thing that chiropractic can be, not only for the animal but for the owners as well.
Well, and one of the huge things about trying chiropractic first is there's no side effects.
Exactly.
You
Exactly.
know,
And you know what? It ends up being cheaper.
well, yeah, and one of the things that we need to be able to make as animal owners or as people is we have to be able to make an educated choice about our health care.
Yep. Yep.
And that requires
Absolutely.
education.
Yep.
And so we as animal chiropractors have to educate about the pros and cons of the adjustment, what
Hmm.
we're doing with the adjustment, and that's one of the things. If you're looking for an animal chiropractor and you go to or a human chiropractor,
Hmm.
why should they come to you? Well, I move bones great.
Yeah. Yeah. That tells me nothing.
Yeah, probably not the person you want to go to. Um,
No.
they you have to know why.
Yep, you
Why
have
are
to
you
be able to educate and be passionate about educating, because at the end of the day, you're not giving one informed consent if you're not educating them on what's going on. But two, how do you expect them to one notice the differences, but also appreciate how it's helping humans and animals? Education is something I've always been passionate about, but going to the course with you guys made educating patients a lot less scary because there's a way to do it with telling the truth and educating without having to be like so tight and nervous about what you're saying. And it's the education aspect is really one of the most beautiful aspects of
cool? And I see
it.
animal owners come in here all the time and they bring their animals on drugs. And we
Hmm.
tell them please take them off the drugs before they get here. And we had one the other day that came in, was on 3 medications. And we said, please take, and they got here and they said, I got to tell you up front, we're still on the drugs.
Hmm.
And I'm like, why? And they said, well, because our vet said don't take them off. And I'm like, well, how are they working for you? Well, they're not.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Hmm.
So, hmm. w-
Why are you
some,
still on them?
yeah, why are you still on them then? And well, because they
Yep.
told me to. And it's like, okay, well, that's part of our healthcare issue, but
Hmm.
let's get them off. And here's why. And I read the side effects, and they're like 2 of the drugs. The side effects were wobbly gait, and the reason the dog was here was because he couldn't stand up on his
Wobbly
hind
gait.
end.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
and and I do that for dogs, and I just recently realized that 37 years I had my son on seizure medication, and I was part of the problem. We started him on seizure medication, and they never knew why he was having seizures, and we took him to seizure lab and 10 times in 30 years, and he was for 7 days, no drugs, and he was totally seizure free. In the seizure lab, he never had a seizure in the seizure lab,
Hmm.
and they tried to make him have a seizure. All kinds of stuff going on.
Hmm.
And then they'd put him back on the drugs and send him home, and he'd have a seizure, nasty seizure within 24
Hmm.
hours. And I
Yep.
remember looking at my ex-wife one time going, "Oh my God, aren't we so lucky he's on seizure medication? Can you imagine how bad that one would have been?"
Hmm.
And he died a couple years ago, November, and I was like, okay. And then about 6 months afterwards, I had a dog come in that was having seizures, and they said, we want to try chiropractic, but what do you think about these drugs? And I said, well, let's just take a look at them. And we popped them up just like I do any drug. I don't
Hmm.
remember any of the side effects off the top of my head because there's too many. So I
Hmm.
go to Dr. Google and I say, what are the side effects of this drug? Seizures.
Hmm.
And it hit me that I killed my son.
And you know what, that's that speaks to you to realize that there's a problem in the system, and it's something that touches home because I was diagnosed with absence seizures when I was in fifth grade, and of course the standard is you go to a neurologist and the neurologist gives you a buttload of pills just bigger than my face, and of course you don't know what you don't know, so you take them.
Yep.
But I couldn't ask questions at that age. I didn't know, and my parents didn't know either, to no fault of their own. But I was falling down the steps. Gained 50 pounds, and at that age, 50 pounds is like a whole other human on your body. And by the time I became a teenager, I advocated for myself because at that rate, I'd rather have the seizures than have be falling down the stairs, all of these things. I didn't care. Give me the seizure at that rate. And I was looking at possibly not being able to drive. And as a teenager, that's devastating. And I decided to go off the medications. I decided to actually stop seeing my neurologist because I told my parents I'm done. I don't care. I'm done. And went off the medications. And here I am today, completely seizure free, cleared by the first person my neurologist has seen in over 20 years with absence seizures, who's been cleared by the DMV completely. No medications, and I'm better and healthier than ever. And I look back at all those medications that I was taking, and I think, man, I was completely wrecking my nervous system. And so, of course, I felt like crap. Of course, I wasn't going to be able to function. And we do the same thing to our animals. And again, I don't like to play blame. There is no blame because you don't know what you don't know.
Don't
But
know.
you've got to educate yourself and look for another doorway, because it's well worth it to be able to sit here and say, yeah, I'm not on any medications. My dog's not on any medications, and they're doing fine.
And you don't know what you don't know, and
Yep,
even as a veterinarian, I only know what's put before me.
exactly.
There's a new drug coming to the U.S. That lists elevated kidney enzymes as a side effect.
Mm,
It's an arthritis medicine,
mm,
and that's the worst side effect in the U.S. Now, if you happen to get a hold of a Canadian drug label,
mm,
it does list death as a
mm.
possible side effect. Um, it's only about 3%, but it
Yeah,
does.
but
It does.
still, I'd like to know if I could die. That'd be nice.
And if you happen to go back and look at the original study, which was done in the UK,
Mm-hmm.
um, two of the original 134 dogs were actually euthanized before the study ended because of kidney failure.
Oh my gosh. And
Now,
that wasn't a giant red flag to the system. Of course it wasn't. Of course it wasn't.
so so in the UK, and in the Canada, and then it's just slightly elevated kidney enzymes, so nothing to worry about.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is that's the sad part right there, is even if you do read the labels, which, let's be honest, most people don't. Most people
Nope.
don't even think to read it. But even if you do, how honest are those labels? Because
Yeah.
you can't trust. Why put Nobody should have control over your health or your dog's health other than you. And people put too much faith in, oh, sure, like it says it's okay, no big deal. Well, do some research. Look at every commercial on TV right now. It's a lawsuit to some sort of medication.
Yep. Except for vaccines, because they're
They're so
anyway.
helpful.
All right. So time flies when we're having fun.
It
So,
does.
you know, any what would you do you wish every animal owner knew about animal chiropractic?
I wish they knew that it shouldn't be secondary, or it shouldn't be a last resort. It should be the first resort. I wish more people knew about it, and that part of that is on us to spread the word of chiropractic. But I also wish that people would just give it a try, right? I understand most people want to do the standard medicine, go to your vet first, those sort of things. I get that. But imagine how much healthier your animal and humans could be without having that neurological interference of medicines and the poking and the prodding. And if it's not necessary, you don't need to do it. So why not try an alternative that could actually work better for your animal? I wish I wish it was standard practice. You walk into a vet, and if they don't do it, they handed you a card to an animal chiropractor. It should become standard practice, and I fully, deeply believe that.
Cool. Yes. All right. Um, so what what about words of wisdom to students? What would you
Jump
tell students?
in, dive in, full like head first, dive into animal chiropractic. It is, you know, I do a lot of things in life. I'm a doula, I'm a doctor for animals and for people. I go help take care of barns when people are gone. I have many, many hats. And my favorite hat to wear and the one that is the most rewarding is animal chiropractic. And animal chiropractic is honestly wholeheartedly what got me through chiropractic school. By the time I got to you guys, I was burned out. I mean, you guys could see it in me too. I had full blown test anxiety. I just was like, I wasn't happy. And I said, you know what, animals is one thing that I will forever and have ever been passionate about. And if this doesn't help, then nothing will. And I look back at that and I'm like, that's what saved me. You guys taught me more than, sorry life, but you guys taught me more than what a lot of my professors did at Life University. So I was full blown in chiropractic school, went away to, A.C.E.S to do the program. And I came back, I was a B.C. student and I came back almost a straight A student because I understood especially the neurology of everything. And you guys took something that school was trying to make so complex and overwhelming, and you took it and you broke it down in a manner in which I understood it. And I also felt confident in my understanding, which for me is a lot to say because I was just a nervous Nelly about everything. And I was able to come back and I looked at the human body even in a completely different way. And I was able to break it down and understand it in a manner of which I felt confident to teach. And you know something when you can teach it. And so don't look at it, students, don't look at this as, oh, it's another course. Oh, it's more coursework. Look at it as this is going to make me a better, more well-rounded chiropractor. And at the end of the day, animal chiropractic is what saved me and what saved me from genuinely quitting the program and being like, I'm going to find something else. And I think you and Dr. Amy more than anything for that, because you guys are just a plethora of knowledge, and it's something that has no dollar amount to it, what you guys gave me and my ability to communicate and understand. So students, jump in, don't be scared of it. Yes, is it going to be work? Yeah, but everything in life that's worth having takes a little bit of work. And if anything, it taught me a different kind of work ethic and a different passion. And that's something that nobody can take away from you. It's absolutely priceless. So jump in while you're in school, because by the time you get out of school, you kind of get caught up in the rut of things. You got to pay bills, you got to do this, you got to do that. But with school, you have a little bit more flexibility, and it can also help you financially along the way.
Yeah, cool. All right, we appreciate that.
Mhm.
The little plug for ACES there never hurts,
I love ACEs.
Yes, and you obviously are one.
I still wear my hoodie almost every day.
And so, you to me, when you talk about how much animal chiropractic means to you, and I
Mhm.
mean, I'm an animal chiropractor. That's all I do is adjust animals.
Mhm.
I used to be a veterinarian. I decided to do this. I don't do surgery anymore,
Mhm.
but you do some pretty amazing things. You mentioned it, kind of blah blah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what'd you do Christmas Day?
So we almost didn't have this podcast because I'm a doula, so I help assist and coach moms through birth. I'll do in hospital and at home, but I prefer the at home ones. They're near and dear to my heart. So Christmas Day, one of my best friends delivered a healthy baby boy, and bringing animals and animal chiropractic is a different section of my life. And what I mean by that is bringing humans into this world is one of the biggest honors, because that is a transformative experience for women, and it's a huge honor. But being able to help the helpless and being able to be a voice for animals when they have no voice, it completes my heart in such a different way, and it's so rewarding. And it's not work, like it is. There's a work aspect to helping moms deliver. When after baby's born, you got to be up every 2 hours with mom, you got to help, you got to cook, you got to clean. I get up at 4 a.m. to go to a barn, and I'm like, yeah, let's do this. Like, I get to help animals. And I don't think twice about it. People look at me like 4 a.m., that means you're up at 3:30. Hell yeah, I'm up at 3:30 because I have the honor to go adjust a barn full of horses that are waiting to be functioning optimally. That is a gift, and it is something that it's really cool to be able to say I work every day, but every day when I get up to go to a barn, I'm filling my own cup. And that's cool. That is really cool to be able to say for the rest of my life I don't look at work as work. It's love and it's a passion.
All right. So I love these podcasts. I get to hear so much from students, and it's amazing what you guys give back to us. And I just hope I can be half as happy as you are.
I
You
wouldn't be
know,
today without you and Dr. Amy. So this happiness has a place from you guys too.
so anyway, and thank you so much for spending the time with me today.
Of
I
course. Thank
appreciate it.
you.
And how do we get a hold of you if I want to get my dog adjusted?
Yes, so two ways. My phone number is going to be the fastest. So send me a text at 540-222-6444. That's always going to be the easiest. It might take me a bit to respond. The other way that you can do it, and if you do choose to do this way, send me information along with it. I'll send you a form, is dr.jennifer elydc@gmail.com. So what that looks like is dr.jenniferelydc@gmail.com. And that's a really quick, easy way to get a hold of me as well.
All right. Thank you so much. Thanks everybody for listening. And remember, just like Dr. Jen said, the body heals one way only, above, down, inside out. Keep those atlas adjusted, and we'll see you later.
Thank you.